Welcome to Middlesex Moments from Middlesex Community College in Middletown. I'm Steve Minkler, your host. As of April 8th, I've transitioned from the role of CEO of Middlesex Community College to a new position as Associate Vice President for Academic Affairs at Central Connecticut State University. So this is one of the last few Middlesex Moments shows I will be hosting on behalf of Middlesex Community College. And with that in mind, it's my pleasure and joy to welcome my guest today, Kim Hogan, who is named Interim CEO of Middlesex Community College. Hey, Kim, how you doing?
I'm good, Steve. Thanks for having me.
And Kim, what does it mean to be named CEO of Middlesex Community College to you?
You know, Steve, I've been telling people it's a bittersweet moment. First of all, all of the years that we worked together, I'm very happy for you in your new role, but it's bittersweet to not have you on campus. And also thinking about as we transition to the one college, being one of the leaders to make this happen is something that I take very seriously, and I'm glad to be in the seat. Making this change is tough on the staff and the faculty here, and making it the best for our students is something that's very, very important to me.
Yeah, I think one of the things that we've tried to do in our working time together, actually, Kim, you and I spent 10 plus years together in our various roles at the college, is really creating a campus culture where, we do try to, have the best in everybody come out and try to really pay attention to things like campus morale and campus climate. And how important is that to you moving forward, especially as we go to one college?
I would say, that's like one of the number one things on my mind. We have so much work, so much great work going on the campus. Of course, as you know, because you used to put it up every time we had a meeting, students really are the center of everything that we do. And if our faculty staff are not in a good place, if they're not feeling a good morale, that's going to affect our students. And ultimately, I want this to be a place that people enjoy to come to, both faculty, staff, students, and community. That's something that's, really, really important to me as a person. I've been on the campus for such a long time that, we've ebbed and flowed with how morale has been. And, I want to see that continue on in a positive way.
Now, how long have you been at Middlesex Community College?
It's 23 and a half years now.
Wow, a quarter century almost.
Thanks. I started when I was 5.
Right.
No, I say that, I feel like I've grown up here on the campus, in a certain way.
Well, and you've also quite literally worked yourself up the ladder. So just kind of briefly review the different roles you had since joining Middlesex 23 years ago.
Right. You think back to 1998, I started out as a financial clerk in our business office. Once I was there, I then moved into our payroll office, where I held the offices of the fiscal administrative assistant, fiscal administrative officer, ultimately coming to the director of finance in the business realm. Then I moved over to be our dean of, I guess we call it Dean of Finance and Administration, which turned into Dean of Administration, a position that I had for probably almost the 10 years that we knew each other, that we worked together.
That's right. And you've also played other various roles. I mean, so the Dean of Administration job really, if you think about it, is finance, it's campus operations, it's building and grounds, and, major planning for the college. It's a lot in that job.
It's designed to be a very strategic job. Although, as you know, we always roll our sleeves up and we have a lot of hands-on aspects just based on the size of our campus. But it really enabled me to really be a part of all aspects of the college. Even thinking about the classrooms, whether it's designing furniture or thinking about the IT infrastructure for the different pedagogies that we use in the classrooms. COVID, of course, was a major role for me as our COVID coordinator. Mm-hmm. And then, interestingly, I wound up being able to use my creative side of my undergraduate degree in marketing and led our marketing efforts for the past several years.
All right. And I think all of that put together, in my opinion, makes you the perfect person to be really now the CEO of Middlesex Community College. So congratulations to you on that. And we're going to explore a lot more about that and about your background and what really makes Kim Hogan tick after our break. So more with my guest, Kim Hogan, Interim CEO of Middlesex Community College, here on Middlesex Moments from Middlesex Community College, right here on WLAS WMRD.
Looking into a career in health information? Want an education that's affordable and flexible? Pursue health information management at Middlesex Community College. Become a health information technician or a clinical coder. Middlesex has the only accredited HIM associate degree in Connecticut. Register now. Visit mxcc.edu for more information.
Welcome back to Middlesex Moments from Middlesex Community College. I'm your host, Dr. Steve Minkler. And with me today is my guest, Kim Hogan, who was recently named Interim CEO of Middlesex Community College. Before the break, we were talking about Kim's 23 years at the college in various roles. And Kim and I worked together for about 10 years, the last 10 years of that time. And Kim, I would think one of the things that you and I worked very hard on in our time together was making sure that Middlesex Community College was much better known in the community around us. And how important is it to you that this college be a significant partner with businesses and nonprofits and the agencies that are part of our community?
Well, Steve, it's right in the name, of course, Middlesex Community College. We have been known at one point, one of our taglines was College of the Community. And that means more than just, being a place up here on the hill that people can come to host events and whatnot. It really means being a player, whether it's helping out with COVID relief, whether it's bringing all different kinds of academic programs to the towns that we serve. But without a lot of our community partners, quite simply put, Middlesex wouldn't be able to do what we do. When you think about our radiologic technology program being housed at Middlesex Health, our veterinary technology program being housed at Piper Olson, those two relationships really are paramount for our academic programming. And then you think about, our relationships with the technical high schools, Vinyl and Wilcox, most recently at Vinyl with putting in a new state-of-the-art plastics manufacturing lab. These things are just something that we would not be able to get accomplished on the campus in the footprint that we currently have. My role in the United Way, as you know, I volunteer with the United Way, and I am the current board chair. In that role, the people that we get to meet, the people that we get to know, and the community relationships that we build through just those types of activities are immense. Middletown itself is just so appreciative of all that we do, all that you have done with our emergency preparedness with the city of Middletown. The relationships just go on and on and on. And when I think about, our students and kind of where we are coming back from COVID, some of the mental stabilities that are currently being felt out in town or out in our communities at large. I'm also on the board of Gilead Community Services, and I cherish that role because it's just so important to our community that we have these opportunities for folks to be able to better their lives. And that's what it's all about for me.
Yeah, so it's almost like if you imagine a person's life being pieces of a jigsaw puzzle. I don't want to oversimplify things, but each of us plays an important role, or maybe we're several pieces put together. And I think, the more that people see Middlesex Community College as being a big cluster of pieces in a person's life, we actually can help refer students to services they need while ourselves being an important educational stepping stone for many people.
Correct. And the one thing that I forgot to even mention was, you think about our eyeglasses. I know you wear eyeglasses and I do too. And to know that we can get them right here at our own college and have our students help us pick out frames and get fitted for new glasses, it's right here on our campus. And what better proof of what we're doing than to be able to wear that and tell that story? Well,
that's right. And we're the only public college in the whole state of Connecticut that has an optician program. And you're right. I've used that old commercial. I was the president, but I am a client, right?
Right.
So, but when we're talking about some of these partnerships, you mentioned our relationship with Middlesex Health and Piper Olson, and now with the technical schools. You are actively working on the project at Vinyl Tech. There's something creative about these relationships. There's a lot of paperwork, there's a lot of meetings, but there's something really creative. And what really drives you? What gets you really interested in getting into the weeds of things like these partnerships?
Well, knowing that, like you said, there's a lot of paperwork, and that used to be, my forte was to be able to put contracts together or, work with my teams of people. It's not just me, but it's all the teams that come together. And just to be able to operationalize and put the plan together to have something work and, know that we have a community need. There's a tremendous amount of need for people in healthcare right now, whether it's all the way from CNAs in our workforce development to phlebotomy to central sterile tech, all the way up through, actually a radiology, someone to come in and actually take your x-rays. And then to think about the opportunity to make post-primary certificate programs in MRI, CAT scanning. And, just thinking about the fact that our small college up here on the hill can accomplish all these things, that's really where I see my forte is being able to put all of the pieces together to make things work.
But I mean, you also take it to a whole different level, Kim, and let me just share with our listeners an example. So, as when I was CEO of the college, I would go next door to Kim's office as Dean of Administration and as somebody who would manage major projects, and I would literally see paint chips and carpet samples and maybe a chair that would work its way around campus for people to test ride in. I mean, it seems like small details, but you're really talking about the usability and aesthetics of places as well, and how, that's what helps, keep our faculty and our students interested in being at a place like Middlesex, is those attention to details that you really find a creative side of yourself in doing.
Thanks, Steve. You're absolutely right. With my creative side, it's the kind of thing where certain things just make sense to me that maybe we overlook. But if someone's going to be sitting in a chair, taking classes, and I'm not going to be sitting in that chair, nor are you as a CEO or even as dean, but we need to listen to our students. And if they're apt to, want to try it out and check it out, and they'll give you the feedback, they're going to tell you, hey, this is not a good chair, or this is a good chair. And it's a little thing like that then that person can go and say, you know what, I helped pick out this chair. And it gives them an immense amount of pride to that student that's able to give their voice and have us listen, and makes them feel part of our community.
Well, one of the other things that you've been really a major player in is our deep and abiding commitment to the city of Meridian. When you and I first were partnering together, our Meridian campus was in a leased building downtown. Now we're at Platt High School, and that change to Platt High School was very significant. Talk a little bit about your commitment to our Meridian presence at this point.
Well, thanks, Steve. That when we think back to that day that we had to make some decisions that weren't popular, mostly on budgetary constraints, the unique thing about our relationship was we needed to find a way for those students in Meridian to be able to still attend college in their own community. And the relationship over at Platt is just something that, is treasured for me. Not only because we were integral in making it happen, but then when you walk over into their beautiful facility and you see the commitment that the city of Meridian has for us, it only makes sense that we're there, we're present, and able to serve the students in that community in their hometown. We know that transit issues are abundant in our state, and they're all being worked on. However, it's still very, very difficult to get from Meridian to Middletown in a reasonable amount of time on public transportation. We're still working on that. That's an initiative that we've been working on for many years, and hopefully, by the time that I retire, we'll be able to see it, a quick return. But no, in all seriousness, it is the partnerships that they keep us going, and the community over in Meridian just really wants us to be there. And through our Gear Up initiatives and making affordable education available, it's the key. It's the key to what we need to be doing over there.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, we've saved Meridian families thousands of dollars in tuition by allowing the high school students to take classes at MXCC at Platt at night for free, because we get the building for free. So it's a great trade-off. It's a great relationship. And I know we're very committed to the Mid-State Chamber under Roseanne Ford's leadership, and also the Middlesex County Chamber under Larry McHugh's leadership. I mean, to be really strong partners with the chambers and all the businesses they represent is part of this whole business about us being the college of the community.
Exactly. And we can't forget Old Saybrook, too.
That's true. Sorry. Yep.
We definitely have to remember Judy down in Old Saybrook. The three chambers really play a part in promoting business and opportunities for businesses to utilize our services. If there's anything that's needed, whether it's Excel classes or customer service classes or anything like that we can bring to those community members, we certainly are here to serve them.
And I think we also share a common desire to make sure that many of our spaces on campus are available to the community as well. So, we've hosted many meetings over the years in Chapman Hall and some of our classrooms. And that's, I know, is going to continue under your leadership too.
Absolutely. There's some really interesting annual events that go on in our campus. Some of them are more academic related. Some of them are community based. It's always a hub of activity over in Chapman Hall, and I can't wait now that COVID is lifting a little bit. I say that hesitantly with the current rates that we have in our state. But I know they're going to come back down. and we'll be open and ready for our community.
Yeah, I hope they will. And I know we're progressively opening things up as we can. And I guess just as we wind our way toward a break, just a quick thing. So our listeners know I myself am recovering from COVID after avoiding it for almost 2 years, or a little more than 2 years, actually. But without a vaccination, I'm sure I would be feeling a lot worse. So if you've just a personal plea, if you've not been vaccinated or boosted, please do so as soon as you can. I would think you'd agree, Kim.
I definitely would as our COVID coordinator. That's the best PSA announcement that we can make today.
Okay.
Please get vaccinated.
Okay. Well, with that, Kim, we do have to take a short break. And after we come back, more with my guest, Kim Hogan, Interim CEO at Middlesex Community College. You're listening to Middlesex Moments from Middlesex Community College here on WLIS WMRD.
Middlesex Community College gave me the foundational tools that I needed to become a social worker.
The skills that I acquired through the Human Service Program allowed me to work here now at a nonprofit organization.
It really feels like a family going to school here. You get to know the professors and your peers.
I think that Middlesex can change the trajectory of people's lives. If you're brave enough to get started, it can change your story.
Welcome back to Middlesex Moments from Middlesex Community College. I'm your host, Dr. Steve Minkler, and I'm joined today by Kim Hogan, who's Interim CEO of Middlesex Community College. And one of the things that the CEO does at Middlesex Community College is to be an important liaison with the Middlesex Community College Foundation. And Kim, just for the sake of our listeners, could you make the distinction between the college and the foundation? Why are there two different things?
The foundation is a 501c3, which is a nonprofit organization with the primary goal of raising funds for Middlesex Community College students. And that could be in the form of scholarship. Right now, it's my favorite time of the year. We're going to be giving out our scholarships, approximately $80,000 worth. And one of the main differences is to raise money for specific goals. So whether, like I said, whether it's scholarship, it could also be for innovation. It can be for any kind of departmental needs. It could be just a legacy here at the college to keep things going when there are different initiatives that faculty and staff, maybe want to try to do, pilot programs, add-on programs. We just talked about our eyeglass program, and one of the things that was funded were additional trips to go take students on trips around the world, actually, to be able to provide eyeglass and eye care for many underdeveloped communities.
Right. So the foundation is a way that people can give charitable gifts to Middlesex Community College, which, because we're a state agency, we're not a charity per se. So, but the foundation itself is headed by a board of directors. And who's the chair of the board of directors at this point?
Currently, it's Chris Dibble. He is our board chair.
And Chris had no prior connection to Middlesex, did he?
No, actually, it's very interesting. He was a graduate of Xavier, which is right down the hill, and didn't have any official ties, and just was really, really interested to see what our college was doing. And then once he learned, he's all in. And then he became our board chair, and he's doing a wonderful, wonderful job with getting people really interested and jazzed up about raising money for all the different causes of things here at the college. Our next event is going to be on May 21st, which is our Grad Dash, and I'm hoping to see you out there, Steve.
Well, I heard that you can run or walk it, so if you walk it, then I can definitely participate.
Or you can ring a bell. I do. That is my official MXCC Go Team Go 5K, 10K grad bell.
All right.
I'll be there on the sidelines.
Okay.
You can run, you can walk, 5K, 10K. You can bring your dog on a leash. Just come out and support. It's definitely a great time.
Yeah, and I know you've already ordered good weather for the day, so that's going to be no problem.
Yes, I think it's Larry McHugh that says the sun always shines in Middlesex County.
That's right.
On our event days.
There you go. And having participated in the past, I know it's a beautiful course that goes in the woods behind the campus on the reservoirs. It's a really pretty walk or run.
Yeah, it is.
And that actually is, we call it a Grad Dash because our graduation is coming up later in the month of May, too.
Yeah, the month of end of April, beginning of May to the end of May, we have so many different events that go on the campus that really remind us of why we're here. between our academic convivium, the PTK, the Honor Society, Phi Theta Kappa, their induction ceremonies, the scholarship night that I just previously mentioned, giving out lots of cash to students to come back to school, the academic award night, the Arts and Media Festival, the Grad Dash, ultimately commencement. And I tell people that, especially in my prior role in administration, the contact that I had one-on-one with students was not as much as it is now, or let's say in a classroom setting. But at commencement, when you watch students that you've seen for many years coming across that stage, there's just no feeling it's any better than that. And if you want to truly know, I know you were asking at the beginning, what makes Kim Hogan tick? In my professional career, it is commencement, is watching those students walk across that stage and seeing the perseverance, seeing the pride, and knowing that no matter what, they've accomplished this goal and it can never be taken away. Mm-hmm. So that's really what it's all about for me.
Yeah, I would agree with you. And I think, knowing you, I'll just say that Kim is a very devoted and loyal family member and friend. And pretty much you treat us at the college in much the same way.
Thanks, Steve. Yes. The college really matters to me. There's a lot of time that we spend here on the campus, and you formalize friendships, you have formal relationships with colleagues, here and across our system. But really, we spend a lot of time together. So why not make it the best that it can be? And I am committed to this college.
And that's no doubt there. One of the ways that we like to spend time together and also help gather friends, but also raise some money for the college, is the foundation's annual Red Moon Festival, which is still several months away, but that would be coming up in September, October this year. How are the plans coming together for that?
You haven't seen any of my commercials or anything like that,
Not yet.
Not yet anyway. I got to get my counterpart, Rick, out there. I have to say, the Red Moon started out so many years ago, and it has just morphed in all different ways, but now it really is a fun time. Each year it's a little bit different, and we come together with a different theme each year. We're looking at October 1st as our date. I've got to get through graduation and Grad Dash and all the other things I just mentioned. And then we'll be heavily turning towards the Red Moon. If at any time any of your listeners out there want to contribute to the college or any of these events or take part in this, please always check out our website. It is www.mxcc.edu. This is where you can find out all of the great things that are going on here at Middlesex Community College. And
of course, they can always call or email you too to learn more as well.
Absolutely.
One of the things I want to get back to, some things happening on campus under the college's direct purview, are the college's commitment to sustainability. And some of this really ramped up when Anna Wasesha was president of the college, but we have continued to ensure that we are good stewards of our environment, and you've been a big part of that for a long time. And what are some of the kinds of things that Middlesex has been doing historically to look at sustainability, both historically and into the future?
It's interesting. I think everybody takes sustainability approaches in different ways. To me, it's all about moving our needle. The least amount of carbon footprint that we can leave behind. We're not going to be able to, completely absolve what we do and the impact that we have, but we can certainly leave no trace as much as we can. We can try to just be better about how we go about using energy and keeping our college as sustainable as possible. So that we have a solar array outside. I brought that array to fruition under what Dr. Wasesha. She, was the one that really got it going. And then just after she retired, we were able to actually have a kickoff and a ground opening for that array. That array allows us to harness electricity and use it here at the college, as well as giving back to the grid. One of the things that when you think about sustainability, you think about the use of oil. We are in the process of a natural gas conversion. Through our partners with Eversource. Again, here's that word partnership again, working with Eversource to get the piping up here and get us connected to natural gas for our heating needs in the winter. Another thing is, utilizing our solar power. If anybody read the In the Loop newsletter last month, you'll notice that we have solar powered tables outside of our patio area here outside of Founders Hall. And that's so we can harness the sun's energy and be able to power laptops or any other devices. Students can recharge their cell phones right outside while they sit COVID friendly on our beautiful campus. We also look at our recycling. We go through a lot of paper here. We're trying to do everything we can to become paperless, and that's thanks to you, Steve. That was one of your initiatives to try and get us mostly, using the Microsoft Office products that we have. I have now been told I have 76 teams, so that we don't have to it saves us from printing out agendas and these kind of things that we would normally do in normal operations. And it's a little thing, all these little things combine to move our needle. And I'm just proud to be a part of that.
Yeah, I think when I was cleaning up the office before I left, all my paper files ended at the end of the year 2019. Part pandemic, but part commitment to going paperless as much as possible. But I think too, it's also in terms of bringing guest speakers and some national resources our way. We've really re-energized our partnership with Wesleyan University and their Office of Sustainability as part of a broader way of connecting with Wesleyan. And, what a big force to have Wesleyan and Middlesex working together to better our communities.
Yes. And thank you for reminding me of that. Again, it's these relationships that we have across the city. Single stream recycling came up, from the city as a city initiative. And if we can get Wesleyan and Middlesex Community College on board with that, then what better community leaders? Our students that are coming through are seeing this commitment to sustainability. And again, it's just a matter of doing what makes sense.
And one of the things that makes sense, Kim, as we begin to wrap up is taking care of yourself. And being a CEO or a dean of a college is a 24/7 job. And I don't care what we put on a timesheet. How do you unwind when you're not sitting at your desk or worried about Middlesex if you're not at your desk?
Well, there's a couple of things. One, as you know, I just love our shoreline. I go down by the water, and the water is just something that, our Long Island Sound is beautiful and it calms me, and it's my grounding place. What I try to do now, whether this provides a relaxation or not, I'm not sure, but I do love to golf, and I'm on a golf league. I play with the Connecticut Valley Golf League here at the Portland West, and my score last week, though, it didn't bring me a sense of calm. No, I'm just kidding around. Of course, getting out there and hitting the courses here in our area, it's just something I love to do. So golfing is something that definitely brings me great pleasure.
Well, good. And I hope you do remember to take some time off now and then to relax and unwind. It's a thankless but thankful job at the same time to be CEO of a community college. And
It sure is.
yeah. So again, I want to thank Kim Hogan, Interim CEO of Middlesex Community College, for joining me today. Kim, thank you.
You're welcome, Steve. Thanks for having me here. I know that although you're not our current CEO, our relationship is going to continue to grow. Our partnerships will be ever expanding to Central Connecticut State University, I'm sure. And I'm looking forward to all we could do together in the future, Steve.
Absolutely. Me too. And I wish you all the best of luck. You're not going to need a lot of it because you're a really talented person, but best regards to you. And you're absolutely right. Our partnership will continue now and for a very long time. So many thanks to Kim, and many thanks to you, our listeners, for joining us for another edition of Middlesex Moments. And as always, you can visit us in person. Our main campus is located at 100 Training Hill Road in Middletown, or you can see us at our Meridian Center located at Platt High School, where we offer afternoon and evening classes 4 days a week. And of course, you can visit us 24/7 at mxcc.edu. On behalf of Middlesex Community College and Kim Hogan, its interim CEO, I'm Steve Minkler, and we'll see you next week.